Le Nissan Kick-Play 2025 a beaucoup de plus. Apple CarPlay intégré pour jouer vos tunes préférées, des fonctions avancées de sécurité, un rendement énergétique remarquable, puis même la petite odeur de char neuf qu'on aime tant. Tout ça en plus pour moins. Le Nissan Kick Play 2025 est le véhicule neuf le plus abordable au Québec. Achetez-le à partir de seulement 22 774 $, incluant un rabais à l'achat comptant de 2 600 $. Profitez de cette offre avantageuse chez votre concessionnaire dès maintenant. Jusqu'au 2 mars, des conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
Well, summer is approaching, and, we're expecting a hot summer, but there are some worries that it will also be a hot summer for the Montreal police, and worries that they're going to have to deal with a difficult summer in the city when it comes to crime and violence. With more on this, let's go to Alain Vaillancourt, who is head of public security on Montreal's executive committee. Alain, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me, Elias.
What can you tell us on that end? Of course, Montreal has a new police chief. There's a lot of people that have high hopes and high expectations. You know, in the past, in recent memory, when we've gone through periods where there's a lot of gun crime or there's a lot of knife crime, people get very concerned. So, what is the outlook for this summer?
Well, the police. He mentioned it himself 3 weeks ago. He was on Paul Arcand show and he gave some elements of that. From what they see internally, they monitor a lot of indicators, the social media. There's an expectation that the violence may increase. There'll be an uptick this summer. He mentioned in particular, for example, currently the different street organizations, street gangs who are now unorganized are starting to get organized. So, that may contribute to something that we might see this summer. There's also, they monitor a lot of the social media, a lot of the groups. So they see a lot of activity there, which they see a lot during the winter generally. And then when the summer comes around, well, the groups go out in the parks, they may meet, et cetera. So there's that element too that they're monitoring. However, yes, we're expecting possibly to see that, but everything is being put in place to try and minimize that as much as possible and to react to it. And we don't just start that now. We plan all year for that. And it's important to also note that each police station, there's 30 police stations, each police station has its own reality, in their area that they also put plans in place. They change their teams around. They concentrate on different areas of crime. For example, I just came from the police station in Pointe Claire, and he was telling me, the commander-in-chief there was telling me that in his area, it's car theft right now. That's one of the big issues. So they put in place different strategies to deal with that in the Pointe Claire area. But we're seeing that across North America. That's a whole other issue for the car theft. But that also contributes to part of what we're going to see this summer. Yes, but I want to reassure people that everything is in place to counter that. We also extended which has been very effective, the Arrêt group. It's a group of specialized FPVM patrollers that tackle gun violence specifically. So we've extended their mandate throughout the summer.
Okay, and I guess my next question is, there's no question of resources, because I sometimes hear murmurs, we don't have as many police officers as we should have, and that will that shortage may create issues or funding. And then, of course, I look at the budgets, and every year the police gets a higher budget, right? So on the matter of funding and resources, we have enough, right? We have enough to deal with a summer in Montreal.
We do. However, there's still vacant positions, that's a whole other area that we're doing everything we can to fulfill, to fill the vacant positions. With people who are absent, there's people that are vacant. But for the immediate summer, the resources are there. He's also going to be announcing his 100-day. He's been there 100 days, Mr. Daga. He'll be announcing his diagnosis, his strategies that he's putting in place. But for the resources, we're also tackling that. We have. And on top with we're working on an issue with the provincial government for funds for additional resources. We have a special co-op we call at the policing school that's just for Montreal. We're looking at possibly their conditions. We have a lettre d'entente with the union right now that there's still a lot of work to be done, but that's progressing. So we're working a lot on that issue, but we're ready for this summer. We can't we can't neglect the immediate needs right now that we have, which we're ready for.
We're with Alain Vaillancourt, head of public security on the executive committee of the City of Montreal. Alain, let's public security. Let's turn to another issue with public security: flooding, flood warnings, preparations for possible flooding. Where are you with that, and where are your concerns? Maybe what parts of the island are you concerned about? If you could tell us more on that issue.
Yeah, right now we're in what we call intervention mode, which means that our emergency center has been staffed with all the resources to coordinate everything that we need to do on the ground to intervene as the floodwaters rise, which means concretely, enough blue-collar workers, enough equipment, sandbags, digs, et cetera, working with all the different mayors that are concerned. We can think particularly about Pierrefonds, Huntsic, and Île-Bizard. So I'm in contact with specifically mostly those three areas. So there's already barriers being put up. The equipment's pumps are being delivered. So we're ready, and we're intervening at the moment. Right now, we're a bit. It depends on the weather. We've had colder weathers. That means that the snow, up in the Carillon Bassin is not melting as quickly, which is helping us. Give you an idea, in 2017, the big flood, we were at about 9,900 cubic meters of water as far as the flow, and we're right now at 6,300 as we speak. So We're far from what we were in 2017. However, it could change, and that's what we're ready for. If we get a lot of rain in the weekend, possibly, if it warms up, there's a lot of different elements that need to happen at the same time for the water levels to rise quickly. But it all means that we're intervening, we're ready, and we're ready in case it rises further. So to reassure those people involved, in Pierrefonds, Huntsic, and Île-Bizard especially.
Alain, we're going to leave it there. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much.
Great. Thanks, Elias.
Joining us this week on our City Hall segment, that's Alain Vaillancourt. He's head of public security on Montreal's executive committee.